Tuesday with Aaron Carpenter and Bob Chelnick.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. The Alberta government has started serving striking social services workers with court injunctions, warning them to get back to work or face a fine. The strikers walked off the job illegally 2 weeks ago, saying they're overworked, and today they accuse the government of harassing them and said they're not about to back down. Graham Thompson has our report tonight.
It's become a daily ritual, striking social workers at the Alberta legislature, chanting slogans against the government. The pressure is building on these strikers. The government has begun serving them one by one with court injunctions, telling them to end the strike or face a contempt of court charge on Thursday or Friday.
If it's that does it, fine. Anything that will do it, as my position has been all along. We do not want to leave the Albertans out at risk.
The government is also talking tough in newspaper ads it took out this weekend. It says the union is crippling social services in Alberta. Social Services Minister John Oldring did meet privately with union leader Linda Karpowicz on Saturday. But today, neither would say much about their meeting.
A short meeting and a number of items discussed, but nothing that we want to put on the public agenda at this time.
Today on the picket line, workers said they're not backing down.
These people aren't cracking, they're even stronger. I mean, they're amazed and shocked at how far the government is going. And instead of dealing with our issues, they're trying to intimidate us, and that's making people even more angry.
The odds are stacked against the strikers. Unless they return to work or reach a breakthrough with the government soon, they'll be summoned one by one to court, charged with contempt and punished with a fine. Graham Thompson, CBC News, Edmonton.
And while the strike drags on, many Albertans are feeling the effects. The demand for food is so great, some food banks are considering closing, and there are child abuse cases that aren't being investigated.
Packing up and moving out. Louise Casper never thought it would come to this. But when her welfare check didn't arrive on time and she couldn't afford the late charge her landlord demanded, she was evicted. Now she isn't sure where she'll go. The mother of 3 is sick with worry.
I am forced out. There's no two ways about it. I phoned social services. Is my social worker back to work? No, they're still on strike. We can't help you. So what else is there left to do?
The government says there are other people in Louise Casper's predicament. Some have been forced to stay at hostels. Others have run out of food and found themselves here at the food bank. But food banks all over the province are running low.
We've heard today that Red Deer Food Bank has 2 days worth of food left, and that's all they can maintain. And Calgary Food Bank is doing an emergency appeal, so it is hitting quite a few different centers right now.
Since the strike began 14 days ago, staff replacing the strikers have only been able to deal with about 1/3 of the welfare cases waiting for help. But what concerns the government most right now is the number of child abuse cases. The government says about 30% are not being investigated within the required time.
Obviously, the risk and additional jeopardy for these children is there today. There's no question that there's additional jeopardy and additional risk as a result of this strike.
The government says the union has an obligation to get back to work and end their strike. The union says not until the government agrees to lower caseloads, the central issue in this dispute.
And certainly the reason that many of these people are on picket lines are the very reason that you just finished stating, that the clients can't be served the way they should be served, and that the member themselves feel that they have to service their clients.
The government says it won't negotiate with the strikers until they end their illegal walkout. The union says it won't go back to work until the government agrees to talk first. So the stalemate continues. And the strike drags into its 15th day, leaving people like Louise Casper wondering what they'll do. Rick Boguski, CBC News, Edmonton.
Provincial jail guards are still on strike illegally, but the government isn't taking them to court for contempt. Solicitor General Dick Fowler says RCMP officers are handling the jailers' jobs with few problems. He says some prisoners are being released early, but says they pose no danger to the public. Meanwhile, spokespeople for striking jail workers are offering to return to negotiations on Wednesday.